Welcome to Simmons Says, where I help emerging and struggling writers create intriguing plots and compelling characters to make their stories hard to put down and even harder to forget. Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Simmons Says, where I share tips and techniques to help you figure out what comes next in your stories. This evening, or afternoon or morning, whenever it is that you're looking at this, we're going to talk about how do you know when to seek feedback on your story, right? And who do you even go to? Do you go to beta readers, family, friends, or an editor? Who do you go to? And one of the things that I find is sort of a constant question for a lot of writers just before that thought is, what are you going for? What is it you're looking to receive from this person you're going to hopefully get feedback from? Obviously, many of us hope we're going to get some positive feedback. We're going to hear wonderful things about our writing. But we're also quite often fearful that they're going to hate it, or something doesn't work, or maybe we're not ready for this, we're not ready for that, or it's not ready for this, or it's not ready for that. So what do you want? What are you really looking for? And then who do you go to? Now, one of the things that I find useful is getting clear about what we're afraid we're going to hear. If it's your first, second, or third draft, if it's your first draft, then it's theoretically going to be messy. And subsequently, there's going to be possibly typos. There's going to be a dialogue that doesn't work. There's going to be transitions between scenes that don't quite flow or connect. There may be plot dropouts. There may be a messy middle. The suspense might not be there. There's any number of possibilities in your first draft. If it's your second or third draft, then theoretically you've had a chance to go through it and nurture it and rework some of it and remove some of this and add some of that. So how much work have you put in to the work? And now you think you're ready to present it to somebody and get feedback. If it's a friend, that's one thing. You want to make sure it's a friend who is going to be honest with you and is going to share openly, their feelings. Remember, they may or may not be writers. So they might be just looking at this as an audience member might, or, someone who picked up your book or your short story or whatever. They're going to react as audience, straight audience. And if they're an audience who likes you, they might feel compelled to be more complimentary than maybe you might need or want or expect, because they're rooting for you. If it's a beta reader, well, then that person has theoretically agreed to look at your work, read it, and give you more constructive and insightful feedback, again, coming from wherever their expertise and experience might originate. If they are writers, especially writers who have worked in the same genre or area that you do, then they're going to have a certain familiarity with the process. They're going to have a certain skill set, and they're going to look at the work, and they're going to try and, again, constructively give you feedback that is going to be helpful. And less cheering from the sidelines or from the bleachers. They're going to be saying, look, we're team members here, and I'm going to share this with you and share that with you, so you're going to go out there and be able to play harder and better. If it's an editor, well, again, I'm going to assume this is a professional relationship. Let me just start there. In which case, you're paying this person for their expertise, their experience. And they're going to look at it with a more critical eye. And hopefully it's going to be constructive criticism. Now, I want to just say that one of my pet peeves is editors who try to guide a writer into writing the story the way they, the editor, would write it as a writer. To twist, push, or let's just say twist or push someone in a direction that is less about the best story possible, the best character development moment possible, and more about, well, this is how I see the story and this is how it should be done. And I understand you have your style and your feel, but this is what I believe, and this is where that story should be, and this is how that story should be written. My belief is that as an editor, our job, just like a teacher, is to help guide you to generating the best possible version of the work you're trying to create. Now, there are some editors who are frustrated writers. Editors have to be careful about directing or guiding writers with principles and structure and methodologies and techniques that are useful and maybe actually really are the best ways to handle a scene or a character or storyline. But we also have to help the writer understand how they can utilize that tool, that insight, to improve on their work. Not guide them into writing it the way we would. How do I help you become your best version or the best version of you as a writer, as an author, as a creative? How do I do that? Even if sometimes it goes against. Quick, for instance, I teach, I have private clients, and I also teach screenwriting students. And they're from different age groups and different lifestyles and countries and different ideas and concepts that they want to get out there onto film. And I have to remember that some of them will not see the world, see the art, see characters the way I do. They haven't lived my life, I haven't lived theirs. There are certain universal truths, certain universal storylines and themes that I will recognize. But then I have to listen to them. I have to really try and connect with them and hear what they're going for so that I can help them get there, but along a path that they get, that they see, oh, okay, this is the tool. Here's how I can use it to improve my work, to build and create this thing that I'm trying to generate and bring into the existence. You want to look for supportive, honest, authentic people, whether they're friends, family members, beta readers, or editors. You want them to be honest with you. And if they're going to be tough and brutal, that they're coming from a totally supportive place. Maybe they're a little raw with how they say things, but they are clearly trying to help you tell your best story, utilizing some of the tools they're aware of, not trying to make you a clone of them. So that's one. Now, what if, as you're about to hand this over to them, you're feeling, oh my God, I just don't know if this is working. I had this all mapped out in my head, but now it's down on paper, down on the screen, and it's just not congealing the way I thought it would. That is a good time to seek some guidance, to seek some support, to seek another opinion. But also remind yourself that writing is a process. It's not my favorite word, but it's true. It's a process. It's a series of steps. It's like planting a seed and waiting for that vegetable, that flower to grow. You have to nurture the soil. You have to work it. You have to take care of it and watch it grow and make sure insects don't get to it and all those other things that go with that kind of metaphor. The reality meaning it doesn't become instantly the thing in its perfect form, whatever perfect means. It is something you have to nurture. You have to take care of it. Get it out in that rough form first so that you can see the story in front of you. And then you go back and you do your rewrites and you work on the structure. Does the story make sense? You work on the characters, the character authentic and consistent throughout the story. And then you can work on the dialogue. Does the dialogue work? Again, are the characters speaking the way each character should as opposed to everybody sounds like me? These are things that you can do one step at a time. And at certain points, you might want someone to take a look at this. And that's when you have to tell yourself, okay, I'm writing this for me so that I can get this story out, but I'm also writing this for an audience, for others to have this experience. And in order for me to know if that's working, I have to share it with another person. And then look for the right person as much as possible. And then hear the feedback. In the best possible circumstances, friend, family, beta reader, or editor, you found a person who's going to be authentic and genuine with you and honest with you. And so as they're sharing their feedback, even if it's something you don't want to hear, listen. Let it come in. Take notes. Live with it for a day or so. Consider the possibilities. Could that not be as clear as you thought it was? Maybe this character isn't doing such and such. Let me look at this. And if it is, it doesn't mean, oh God, I suck as a writer. It means, okay, this is what I have to work on. This is what I have to fix. And in the case of an editor, perhaps the editor or a beta reader who is also a writer might give you some suggestions. You don't have to decide on it immediately. Make note of those suggestions and consider those over a day or two or three. And say, oh, this might work. No, this is not my style. Or this is not the direction I want the character to go in. But I do realize I have to check that direction. I do have to work on this. I do have to work on that. Take the feedback, determine what is valid, and put the rest to the side, saying thank you, and keep moving forward. I believe that pretty much says what I wanted to say. Being a writer is a risky scenario. It's chancy because you're not keeping these thoughts to yourself unless you do that, which I'm hoping you don't. I suspect many of you who are listening to this, that's not what you do. You do write so that you can share it with others and hope that it works, that it finds its crowd, its niche, its fan base, and that it serves the purpose, that people connect with the story, that they find joy in it, or they find empathy with it, or they're distracted from the other things going on with this story of yours, that they connect with it. That's what we can hope for. And so we do our best, which is all anybody can ever ask, to do your best, and then let it go. Okay, that's it for this episode of Simmons Says. I hope you found some of this useful, if not all of it, although I actually hope, honestly, you found all of it useful. Until next time, keep tuning in to Simmons Says to find out what comes next in your story.